They called me a ghost, a genius, a scammer. But here I am, just another number in a prison jumpsuit. I am 19, and I was sitting on top of the world. They didn't know my name or my face, but they knew my work. I ran one of the biggest Ponzi schemes the world had ever seen. An anonymous mastermind, behind $1 billion empire. The internet, that was my playground. People trusted what they couldn't see, and I gave them dreams wrapped in digital promises. It wasn't just money I was moving, it was lives. They called it freedom investing. I called it printing cash. When I walked through airport lounges, no one looked twice at the kid in sneakers and a hoodie. Yet in my pocket, I carried the passwords to accounts bigger than some countries' economies. But it all came crashing down, as it always does. Now, instead of luxury suites, I've got this cold, hard bunk and a steel toilet that doesn't even flush right. In here, the story isn't about how much money you made. It's about how far you've fallen. My story didn't start in the fast lane. I grew up in a small, quiet neighborhood. My parents were strict first-generation immigrants from South Korea. They worked endless hours running a mom-and-pop grocery store. Education was everything to them. You'll be a doctor or a lawyer, they said. But all I wanted was out. Out of the routine, the grind, the predictable. I taught myself coding when I was 12. By 15, I was flipping items online, running small cons on gaming platforms. Not stealing, just bending the rules, at least that's what I told myself. The rush of winning, of outsmarting the system became my addiction. Crypto was my big break. I understood it before most people did. And by 17, I'd created my first token. It was easy. Promise high returns, pay out the first few investors with new money, and watch it snowball. People begged to throw cash at me. I was their golden ticket. I didn't see myself as a criminal back then. I saw myself as a prodigy. But prodigies don't end up in places like this, do they? They say greed blinds people. Well, I was the puppet master, and their greed made them dance. My scheme wasn't just big, it was massive. I launched a cryptocurrency called Ecliptic Coin, marketed as the next Bitcoin. Promised 15% returns weekly, guaranteed. Who wouldn't jump at that? I ran ads with fake testimonials, created profiles of supposed millionaires who had made it with Ecliptic Coin. The FOMO, fear of missing out, was the real bait. In just 6 months, I had over 250,000 people investing their life savings, from single parents to retirees. The numbers? They still blow my mind. More than $1.22 billion flowed into accounts I controlled. The craziest part? I never spent more than $20,000 setting it up. A simple website, a flashy logo, and buzzwords like blockchain and decentralized. That's all it took. But it wasn't just regular folks I fooled. Big-time investors bought in too. Even tech-savvy analysts. It was wild watching news outlets hype my scam as a revolutionary financial breakthrough. At its peak, I had enough money to buy an island, literally. Yet, I never showed my face. It was all anonymous. My accounts were layered, protected, and untraceable. At least I thought they were. But the truth? I got cocky. When people started asking questions, I doubled down instead of pulling out. I told myself I was untouchable. Then came the crash. Withdrawals exceeded deposits, and the whole thing unraveled. I fled, trying to vanish like a shadow. But in the digital age, ghosts don't hide for long. For a guy who built an empire on staying invisible, my downfall was painfully public. I was living off-grid in a luxury villa in the Maldives, thinking I'd outsmarted everyone. But the thing about moving billions, it leaves a trail. A whistleblower, an ex-investor I'd scorned, tipped off authorities about irregularities. That was the first crack. Turns out the FBI, SEC, and even Interpol were all on my trail. The breaking point came when they tracked a slip-up, a single transaction tied to my anonymous wallet. I had used it to buy a custom yacht. Dumb, I know. Within days, my villa was swarming with agents. I was arrested on charges of wire fraud, securities fraud, and conspiracy. The trial felt like stepping onto a stage where every act of mine was put on full display. Witnesses recounted their losses, painting vivid pictures of trust shattered and dreams deferred. A retiree spoke of years of hard-earned savings disappearing in an instant. A parent shared their heartbreak over a future they could no longer afford for their child. I sat silently, absorbing every word, feeling the full weight of the choices that had led me there. My attorney worked tirelessly to portray me as a young adult, overwhelmed by ambition and mistakes. But the evidence was undeniable. Digital footprints, financial trails, and testimonies from former associates built a case so airtight there was no escaping it. The presiding judge described my actions as one of the most audacious financial betrayals in recent memory. The sentence was decisive: 20 years in federal custody. As the decision was handed down, I felt the collapse of everything I had once considered mine. The anonymity, the perceived invincibility, the empire I had built on illusions. It all vanished, leaving only the stark reality of the consequences I now faced. Prison isn't just confinement, it's a mirror to your past. Arriving at a federal facility at just 19, I felt the enormity of the situation in every glance and every interaction. Adjusting to this new environment was like learning to navigate a world with entirely different rules. I quickly realized that blending in was not an option. My appearance, my demeanor, and my story made me stand out. Social dynamics in such a place are complex, to say the least. There were moments of tension, of being scrutinized, questioned, and doubted. Navigating these moments required a level of vigilance and adaptation I had never needed before. My days were spent keeping a low profile, focusing on personal growth and finding ways to keep my mind engaged. I found solace in small routines, working out, reading, and reflecting on the choices that brought me here. While it didn't erase the sense of guilt or the whispers of doubt that lingered, it provided a structure that helped me endure. Sometimes, the hardest battles are the ones you fight within yourself. Prison forces you into an unavoidable confrontation with your own conscience. Each day brought reminders of the lives impacted by my actions. The investor whose trust I betrayed, the family whose savings I misused, the dreams I inadvertently altered. The burden of guilt became an ever-present companion. Yet, amidst the weight of remorse, there's another truth I've wrestled with, a secret I've carried that few would believe. The financial losses associated with my actions were staggering, but not every asset was accounted for. A portion of the funds, safely stored in digital accounts, remains inaccessible without a key. The catch? That key isn't on a hard drive or a piece of paper. It's embedded in a unique design I carry with me. It's a symbol, a personal marker, visible to anyone but known only to me. The decision to encode this information was made long before I understood the full ramifications of my choices. The irony is inescapable. The answer that so many sought was in plain view all along. I live with the knowledge that this hidden truth, if revealed, could change everything again. But the question lingers: at what cost? Would you hold on to such a secret, knowing the burden it carries? Or would you let it go, seeking a measure of freedom from the past? As the days in my new reality pass, I continue to search for answers. Perhaps my time here is about more than just paying a price. Maybe it's about understanding the weight of the decisions we make, and finding a way to move forward, even when the shadows of the past feel impossible to escape. What would you do?